Hey guys! Today's first day of the Freedom Week, as I like to call it. um, Mom and Dad took off this morning. Um, I weirdly woke up at like 7:47, and I don't normally do that on my own. But at the same time, I have been having to get up earlier than usual due to physical therapy on my ankle. So, yeah, I'm probably too used to getting up early because of that. Um, so, I kind of want to keep, um, well, not short and simple, but try to keep it as simple as possible. What I want to talk about is I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with the ARG, or the web series Jack Torrance. Um, as you guys probably know, I follow Nightmind, um, who covers a lot of like the spooky web series, and he does reviews on like spooky movies and stuff like that. And um, so he did a series. He followed the Jack Torrance series, which I found interesting, but at the time, I just thought it was just something for me to watch. I didn't really see anything that was interesting about it. Uh, because it was just basically, it was kind of the same thing as like Marble Hornets and Tribe 12 and all that. It was like, came across a bunch of tapes, and you're trying to clean them up and put them online and stuff like that. And as a result, you see a lot of weird, um, sometimes creepy, but a lot of the times obviously fake stuff uh, going on. Like in one of the videos, there's a shot that's kind of like in the half dark in a bathroom, in the bathtub, with the shower curtain drawn, or mostly drawn, and you see something kicking its legs and kind of singing, and then all of a sudden you see this big giant hand with like giant fingers come around and try to pull the curtain back, and it cuts out before anything's revealed. Um, well, it was funny because in Nightmind's video that he first did on the series, he basically somebody replied in the comments saying, "I know what that is. I used to have one of those," and posted a little clip of what it was, and it was basically like an Easter bunny or something, one of those motorized Easter bunnies, and it's like his legs kick and his ears flop up and down and stuff, and so it's like somebody did that as like a oh, thought it would look spooky being in the bathtub that was dimly lit and stuff. And the interesting thing is, I watched some of the videos. I haven't watched all of the videos yet, but it's like a lot of the ones I've seen, it almost looks like somebody's playing dress up. Like there's people who like just walk around the house, either a silhouette or whatever. It's obvious they're wearing a mask, and so like I said, when I first watched the video, I was like, oh, well, this is interesting. Like hearing Nightmind's take on things, and well, at the time, it was, I believe, either a dead series or it had like not there hadn't been any activity in it for a really long time. So they were like, oh, so, well, and then 2 years ago, apparently, they started uploading again. And it was more of what it basically was somebody who we never got to see. You know, the it went into more classic horror tropes with like a protagonist. We didn't see the protagonist, but this person was going about this house that was being remodeled, and some people said, well, it's obviously the house from the previous videos, and I was like, okay, good catch, because I wouldn't have been able to tell. Well, and the other thing was, a lot of the videos were either taped on or made to look like they were recorded on, like Betamax, Super 8, VHS, really old, and I can't believe I'm saying that, but, as being almost 50 years old, yeah, really old, ways of recording video. I mean, I remember when Betamax was a thing. I remember when VHS was a thing. I remember when, I worked for my dad, and he assigned me the task of seeing how much it would cost to get our home movies transferred from VHS to DVD. And that tells you how long ago that was. So basically, I don't know, it's just really interesting. It's really interesting, and then it ended with like the protagonist in a dark room, and he like heard banging and stuff. Well, and then as this protagonist discovered items from like the tapes, and so including the Super 8 camera. And so what happened was, it ended with him being in the dark with flashlight, hearing loud noises and stuff, and then something happened. And it ended abruptly. Didn't really show anything that happened, but it was really interesting. And then that was it. And so we were like, well, is that the end or whatever? So I basically forgot about it. And then, what was it, a few nights ago, about a week ago, I think, I was browsing YouTube, and I caught a notification from Nightmind. Jack Torrance lives. And so I was like, click on that. And so basically what happened was Nightmind always kept his ears open for that kind of stuff, and he was like, well, you never know, something might come up in the future, because it kind of ended on a cliffhanger, and we didn't know what happened. We didn't know if the protagonist got away, whatever. So basically it started back up with the live stream. It was like about a 2-3 minute live stream. You could barely see anything. And it was like, the title was Find Me. And I'm like, ooh. and so Nightmind, or Nick Nocturne, as a lot of us call him, was like, I think he sent a message out first to Jack, like, on Twitter, I think, because they have a Twitter account too, apparently. And so Nick was like, you sure you want to be found? And what was funny is whoever's behind the Jack Torrance channel apparently uploaded a video or something as showing a location, and it was like, in the description there was a code, and the code said something about, "It is calling, will you answer?" And so Nick Doctor, or Nightmind, thought, okay. So he went down to Texas to investigate. And I tell you, that's been a wild ride. He's been doing a lot of live streams. He did like one normal video, but the rest have been like live streams. So I managed to catch a couple of them. And the one I caught last night, oh man. I got back home from work, and I normally go on to the Marvel site, Discord, and then YouTube. And I was just browsing through, I'd watched a couple videos, and all of a sudden I saw Nightmind, Night 4 Investigation, live now, and I was like, boop! Joined the live stream. And it was so cool. It was just like, the live streams go really, really fast. I really haven't been in very many of them before this past week, and but it was really interesting because it was like, well, how do I say this? Because Nightmind was down in Texas doing all this, and he'd go to like different locations in like the videos, or he was in almost constant communication with whoever's behind the channel. And it was kind of interesting because I almost thought, the time that the Find Me video came out, I almost thought that meant, find out who I am, I want to meet you, let's talk, that kind of thing. I will reveal all once you get down here. But, instead it was really kind of fun because I've got them on Twitter and stuff, and I've got Nightmind on Twitter, and he would like post pictures of like that Jack Torrance has sent him, and he was just like, and it was just like, clues for like, and it was kind of like a thing of, I'm going out here to investigate, and then Jack would send a video or a picture or whatever and be like, this is where you need to go now, this is your next clue. And there were a couple of times that he did a drop, they did geocache, I believe is what they call it. And so it was really kind of cool because it was like, oh, okay. So he had so there were a couple of nights of that where Nick would like go out and explore and stuff. And in one of the, I believe it was like the second? No, it was the third. It was the third one. And he was, the third geodrop or something, the one right before Nick was supposed to come home, and he was, there was he sent a video, or no, it was a link to a previous video of one that the Jack Torrance website, Jack Torrance had recorded of a cemetery. And so he was like, go here. And the funny thing is, Nick had been at that cemetery earlier in the day. So he went back and he found, well, first off, he found a little clown doll that had been used in a couple of the previous videos. A couple of the more recent Jack Torrance videos. And then he was to do, can't remember what the second one was, but the third one found this coffee can that was loosely tied, stacked all the way through with a big figurine of a black cat, which had been painted to look like what Nick's persona on YouTube, which is that of a double-eyed black cat. 2 eyes are green, 2 eyes are purple. And so one of the figurines was painted to look exactly like his persona. The second, and then as he dug in deeper, well, number one, there were all these little scraps of paper that said, "I'm sorry." Oh no, that was in the second drop, and I don't remember what was in that. Oh, they were old-timey records. They were like the little circular ones about that big. And there were different songs, and it was like talking about "Stay With Me." Oh, because I remember, I apologize, I'm going all out of order. But, because what had apparently happened is that some people had contacted Nick and had been like, are you sure that Jack Torrance wants you to do this? Are you sure that whoever is behind this channel wants you to investigate? It could be, And so, Nick, pro character, wrote Jack Torrance email, said just make sure everything's good, and I believe Jack sent him back like a picture, like a clue of where to go next, and it's one word like follow or something. But anyway, that was the thing that had all the little notes that said "I'm sorry." And so we were all, and then after that was when he linked whoever it was, linked the previous video of the cemetery. And so we're all in chat throwing things out, and one of the things that had been thrown out was, what if Jack's sorry that he killed somebody? Because he's showing footage of a cemetery. The character has been to a cemetery before. Is it possible that this was... How do I say this? Is it possible that, that the character... I mean, obviously, this is a game. This is just an ARG... Nothing about it is real, obviously. But at the same time, I especially want to tell you what happened next. So, Nick goes to the cemetery. He follows the trail that was taken in the video. And he finds another geocache. He finds like a little coffee can. And that's when he found the big cat that looked like him, and there were how many? 12, I believe, is what somebody else said. 12 little cats. And so we're thinking, at this point, we're still going, okay, that's interesting. And then in the middle of the chat, as we're still pondering all this, somebody pops up and is like, Jack Torrance uploaded right now. And oh, and that was the other thing. It was like the first or second night, Jack had sent Nick video showing that he or she was watching the live chat. And it was like, oh, he's, and at this point we're all like, could he be on now, And of course, you get the ones who are like, Jack, come out, talk to us. And of course, this person's being really immersive. It's really cool. Because if I ran the ARG, at that point, I would be half tempted to be like, or post something, maybe a little spooky or a little something sinister. But here's one of the things. Here's one of the things I find really interesting. Because, like I said, in the past, it was all just these random little clips. And they're even called fragments. So, according to the story, this is all they've been able to clean up and make look good enough that they can actually put up online and that you can actually see what's going on. Now, here's the thing though. Considering that the protagonist found the Super 8 camera, and considering the fact that when Nick first covered the series, everybody was going, that's not old footage. That looks like stuff that's been edited to look old. And, we have people in the community who are knowledgeable about that kind of stuff. And so we're like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder, Which, my original, I had two theories going into it. I had the theory that, number one, of course it's all fake, but, according to the lore, that it was fake. That whoever had originally recorded these little fragments of recordings, I'm not explaining right. So basically, what I originally thought was either because, people are talking about, oh, there's cultists, there's people in robes, there's people in plague doctor masks, there's people doing all this stuff. And so I'm like, well, what if, I had two theories. Number one, that according to lore, that the story was true, that they had found this stuff, but that it had been edited to look like it was old. So maybe they still found the tapes and stuff, but maybe they were recorded on the newer stuff and then made to look like recorded again onto VHS tapes and all that. My second theory, and the further on we went, the more I was like, yeah, this theory is probably more true, was that it was all fake. That it was all something that was set up. That it wasn't because at first it was like, well, there are, it almost looked there were two groups of people. There were the people who had recorded the creepy footage and people who were in the creepy footage, and then there was whoever was uploading it. So At first, it was like, oh, they're two separate people. But the farther on we got, the more Nick talked about it, the more I was like, maybe they're one and the same. Maybe somebody, and obviously, since it's not a real game, since it's not something real that's going on, at least I don't think so. But so part of it was, so my theory up till a certain point was, oh, all this is fake. All this has been recorded and uploaded, maybe by a group of people, maybe it's still by a group of people, but they're all the ones who are in the videos, they're the ones who are behind the scenes, they're the ones who are all this stuff, and they're doing it for some creepy purpose. So, that leads me to the final video. So, like I had said, we're watching the video of Nick, that Nick had recorded of him undoing the geocache and pulling everything out and explaining things. And it was funny because there were little pieces of tape all along the bottom of the can and all along the top and everything. It's just, I can't remember what it said, but it was Latin. And it was basically like, well, and this was previous message, like, whoever watches will suffer. And at that point, we're like, whoever watches what? Whoever watches Nick's research? Whoever watches the original videos? And then, in the middle of the stream, everybody is all of a sudden going off, going, Jack Torrance uploaded! Nick! Jack Torrance uploaded! And so he goes, once he sees that, he goes to the video and well, first off, when I say that my newer theory was that this was all fake, was because, well, in the original, he had Nick Spears Nick had Nick Spears come in and help him out. Because Nick knows a lot about film and all that, and so Nick was like, yeah, this was just made to look like it came from. So that means that tapes are probably non-existent. Unless, like I said, you record them first onto, you record it onto the tapes, but you don't. But that doesn't look, I don't know. I don't even know. But, because that's not my cup of tea, that's not my knowledge base. But so, the video that Jack had uploaded was a video of a ritual in which we never saw Jack, we never saw a human being, but he had basically set up the can, and this can not only had the little figurine cats in it, but it also had, pictures of artwork that fans had done of Nick Nocturne's character. Of the character of Nick Nocturne, the four-eyed cat. And they all looked like they had been burned. Well, in the video, he did actually put everything in the can except for the cat figurines. And he somehow lit it on fire. Didn't burn the whole thing. He just wanted to make it look like it had burned. And so it was really interesting because the cat figurines, he set the one that looked like Nick in the middle and formed a circle with the others, with the little ones. And then in the middle of the video, which by the way looked like it was on like really old VHS tape because there were lines going through and it flicker, and which only added to the eeriness of it. But then it looked like he was pouring something on the cat figures and stuff, and I can't remember how we figured it out, but basically when he'd said earlier, when Nick had said something, said if whoever watches will suffer. That was video. And yeah, there was something, I can't remember what the Latin was or what it said, but it basically amounted to the fact that all of us who watched that video, all of us who are helping Nick with his investigation, are cursed. So, and of course the chat is just like, oh no, we're all cursed now. And somebody made a Castlevania 2 quote, oh, what a horrible night to have a curse. And the rest of us are just like, and some of us are going on about, oh, I don't feel so, and I'm like, do not do the Infinity War reference, buddy. Don't do it. And so basically that ended. And one of the other things I like about Nick is he always takes time, especially when like the research is done. He always takes the time to go in and talk to the people in the chat, or he'll like pick out certain questions to answer or whatever. And he's just like, don't worry guys, we're not cursed, it's just a game, Oh, but here's the other thing. Apparently, Jack Torrance had sent Nick a P.O. box earlier in the day. And so Nick was like, I'm not going to share this because I don't know. Well, and he shared it, but it says, I'm not going to reveal it because I don't know if it's just for me. I don't know if it's P.O. box I need to go to. If I need to go to a post office and ask for this P.O. box. I don't know if there's something in there for me. Whatever. And so, and when Jack uploaded the ritual video, he basically put the P.O. box in the description. And it was like, not only all who watch will suffer, but you must ask for forgiveness. And he opened it up to everybody. So it's definitely an ARG now. Whereas before, we were like, well, it's just videos. It's just weird. And a lot of them didn't seem to make much a lot of sense. And a lot of them seemed to be, they were obviously fake. You know what I mean? Like the first one had like a creepy deformed baby puppet, but you could obviously, and it had somebody, pretending to be rocking it, but you could obviously tell it was a puppet. It wasn't real. And so, the thing that I don't know is, and like I said, I'm still not 100% as to whether or not there are two groups of people involved in this ARG. Because here's the thing. When we first got the Find Me live stream, Nick was like, oh, wait a minute, what if this is, our protagonist is in trouble? Considering what's happened since then, I kind of wonder if this was a setup from the beginning. If it was a complete, and if it was the plan to, because there were some of these things where it was like not antagonizing, but at the same time it was like it couldn't really be conceived as being overly friendly. And it wasn't like a grateful, yes, please come find me, kind of thing. It was more of a, I'm completely in the dark. Here's just a couple of images that might help you, and, find me. As in a, not, please come help me, please come find me, or even a, hey, I want to reveal the game, to you. It was a, you want to go? Go. You wanna go a couple rounds? Bring it on. And so it's just been really fascinating. It's just been really interesting. And I have to say that the payoff has been really awesome. Because like I said, in the beginning, it was like the stories there wasn't really like a story, at least not as far as we could tell. And of course the thing is that these were being uploaded as fragments. So not even the whole clip or whatever, but just, but just pieces of the clips. Well, and now that we kind of have an idea that this stuff has been recorded, but has been recorded a lot more recently than we were first led to believe. So I'm just really excited, to be honest with you. And thing is that we are now supposed to, all of us who follow Nick, are now supposed to ask for forgiveness. And so the ARG is open now. And so we can participate. We can participate on our own. So if I send a letter or a gift or an offering or whatever to this P.O. box, who knows what I might get? I might get another video. I might get something else. I don't know. I might get a letter back. And the thing is, the ask for forgiveness part, that makes me think almost that, well, we had somebody doing a ritual in the last video. So here's my thought. If we could be meant to ask to go to confession, so to speak, to ask forgiveness from a priest, from somebody who is actually, as part of this cult or whatever, actually meant to, to forgive sins. So I just find it really interesting. I just think it's just very much like, oh, So we will see. We will see what happens from this point on. But yeah, I definitely think I'm going to participate. I am definitely going to do what do what it says in the video. So I have to go back in. I have to go to the latest Jack Torrance video and look up that P.O. box so I can write it down and so I can decide what I'm going to do. And it's like, I don't know. Do I need to write, like, a letter? Do I need to send something? Do I need to send, like, a gift? Because here's the thing. When Nick went down there, it was like he would follow directions, he would go to these locations, and then Jack would have left him a geocache, a box of something, a present or whatever. And to me, I just find that fascinating because it's just like, so I wonder if I meant to send something. If we're all meant to send something in return. Like, write a letter, yeah, but, also, like, send an offering. Send I'm sorry I've offended you. Sorry I came looking for you. Here's a Princess Leia lip smacker or whatever. But probably not that, because that would be, I would assume it would have to be something in response to what he sent Nick. So maybe like a little cat figurine. I am one of Nick's followers, blah blah blah, kind of thing. Or maybe even a picture or something, Nothing that identifies me. Nothing that is like, this is where I live, this is who I am, that kind of thing. But maybe like a picture of a park that's nearby or something. And the interesting thing is this person, whoever they are, is down in Texas. So I already know two people. Well, I don't know two people, but I know two YouTubers that live down in Texas. And one of them's Let Me Explain, and the other one is Graveyard Girl, who I just recently started following. So it's like, it's interesting. I kind of almost want to reach out to them and be like, have you heard of, just to see if they've heard anything or have come across anything, or, or secretly a follower of Nick Nocturne or whatever. But yeah, so I was really excited because I was going to do a video all about my two theories, and then all this stuff started happening, and I'm like, well, guess that changed that. But to me, I just think it's really exciting. This will actually be the first ARG that I will actively participate in. I've always wanted to, but I've either come in like far too late in order to do anything, or there's always been some reason why I couldn't. But yeah, it just seems like the perfect opportunity. I mean, and I'm far enough away from Texas so that I can't go down there and investigate on my own. But it was so much fun to jump in on the live streams and to see what Nick thought and to hear his thought processes and be like, well, what do you think? And that's just so exciting. It's just so much fun. And even though I didn't really get to contribute all that much, I tried asking a couple questions, but that chat was going so fast, it was just like, so, I'm sure he didn't see. But, I mean, because nice thing is, he does edit everything, and he does put the stuff up on YouTube once, the live stream's done, and he fiddles with it a little bit. But, so it's nice, because there's been a couple times where I haven't been able to jump right in on a live stream. But last night was so much fun because I had just gotten home, and like I said, I normally browse YouTube before I go to bed, and I was just like, while I'm on the Marvel forum on the other side, and I had just clicked off of a video and gone back to the main screen, and all of a sudden it was at the top, night, live stream, live now, and it's like, oh! And that was so much fun. And I have to say, the community is so great, because they were just because, not only did they let people know what was going on, but, and there were a few of them who had the Jack Torrance channel up in the page, I'm sure, and they were like, he uploaded! And I think that was just cool. And I don't know where it's going to go from here. I don't know if it's going to be more of a one-on-one type thing, or if it's going to be more of a, you are all followers of, followers of this being who tried to, find me, and as a result, and stuff. But it'll be interesting to see, so I'm excited. But yeah, so that's basically what I wanted to share with you guys. That's what I've been getting involved with lately. So I will keep you guys updated. And the interesting thing is, we have to send a letter, or we have to send a package or something. So it's gonna be stale mail, so it's gonna take a little while for it to get down to Texas and get a response back and stuff. Although maybe not, because if whoever's behind us does get, it's like, will he address us all individually, or will he address us all separately? Will I get something back, or will I get an individual email or YouTube video or whatever, or will he address us all together? So, but yeah, I do think it's interesting, and I do think it's very likely that this is all done by the same person or the same group of people. Because like I said, there were actors in the videos, but just because they were recorded on old footage or made to look like they were old, it doesn't necessarily mean that they were old. And so what I recommend, if you guys are interested, is go check out Nightmind. He's 2 videos, 2 explained videos on the Jack Torrance site. First one, I believe, is just called Jack Torrance Explained, and then where he goes over the videos that we had at the time, and then including the newer ones, and then there's the Jack Torrance Lives I believe is what the second one is called. So watch those first, and then watch watch the uploaded versions of the live streams, because that's really cool. And that's the other thing that I really like is even after the live stream's done, it's like you're watching the video and you can also see off to the side, even after the live stream, the comments go through. So it's really interesting. So anyway, I will be participating in that if I get a chance to. And I'll let you guys know what happens. I will let you guys know the deal about. But yeah, like I said, I honestly think that there was never a person who was in danger. I think it was somebody. I think this was all a setup. I think somebody, the villain or whatever, the antagonist, basically set it up to look like. But it was really interesting because unlike like Marble Hornets or anything like that, where it's just footage, it's just actors and stuff. But at the same time, with Marble Hornets, it was like, well, number one, they were out of order, but they were full videos, or full for as far as we knew. But this one actually says like fragment blah 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 of tape. So I just find it interesting because if it's not true, if one person found, well, and here's the thing, if he found the tapes and yet the footage is only edited to look like it was old. Exactly. So that's why I think it's just one person or one group of people that's behind the whole thing, and they just brought up the Find Me video, or the... Well, I think the reason why Nick and some of us thought that maybe it was a protagonist in trouble was because the last video we got before all these recent ones was the person in a dark house hearing banging, hearing somebody trying to get in, and then that last thing we heard was I don't know how to describe it, but it was like a wailing, screaming noise. Sounded like came from a woman or from a bird. Could have been a peacock. But either way, it was definitely something that was... how do I say this? It was something that was ominous. Because from everything that's said, and again, it was dark. There was just dude holding a flashlight and filming. Which, bravo to that. I have yet to figure out how to record. Footage and stuff in the dark. But then, of course, I just have my phone, so... But yeah, so, yeah, I honestly think that Find Me was a challenge and not a plea for help. I think that somebody set up those videos, recorded them, but then made them look like... Either recorded them on the old cameras or recorded them on newer and then made it look like it was old. So... that's my thought process anyway, so I'm just really excited, and I can't wait to see what happens next. Um, so anyway, I hope you guys are having a great Saturday. Relax and enjoy yourself if you can. If you have to work, hang in there. It's almost done. And yeah, I will talk to you guys later.